The Galactic Trade Council chamber buzzed with the chittering of 1,000 different alien species. Holographic displays showed shipping routes, profit margins, and territorial claims across 17 star systems. At the center of it all sat the most powerful beings in known space, their various forms of communication creating a symphony of clicks, whistles, and telepathic bursts. Captain Marcus Chen stood alone at the petitioner's platform, his simple human clothes looking shabby compared to the elaborate biosuits and crystalline armor of the council members. His cargo ship, the Defiant, was nothing more than a rust bucket compared to the massive corporate fleets that dominated galactic commerce. "The human requests what?" Chancellor Vextar's voice dripped with amusement. The insectoid being's compound eyes glittered as his translator converted his clicks into standard galactic. Marcus kept his voice steady. "Safe passage through the Kepler corridor. My cargo is medical supplies for the colony on Proxima 7. The plague there has already killed 3,000 people." A wave of what passed for laughter rippled through the chamber. The Zephyrians' crystalline bodies chimed like broken glass, while the Thrakari delegation's tentacles writhed in what Marcus had learned was their version of mockery. "Little human," purred Matriarch Silthara, her serpentine form coiled on a hover throne. "The Kepler corridor belongs to us now. The Syndicate controls all major trade routes. Your kind had their chance to join civilized commerce, but you chose to remain independent." The word dripped with contempt. In the galactic economy, independence was seen as primitive, backward. The great trading houses and corporate syndicates had carved up space between them, leaving no room for solo operators. Marcus clenched his fists. "Those people are dying. The medicine I'm carrying could save thousands of lives. I'm not asking for free passage. I can pay the standard toll." "The standard toll," announced Trade Minister Gorthak, his rocky Titan form grinding as he moved, "for passage through our territory is now 50,000 credits per parsec." Marcus felt his heart sink. The journey to Proxima 7 would cost him over 2 million credits, more than his entire ship was worth. "That's impossible. You know I can't afford that." "Then perhaps," suggested Chancellor Vextar, "you should consider selling your vessel to one of our member corporations. They might even offer you employment as a cargo handler. The Syndicate always needs manual labor." More laughter echoed through the chamber. Marcus looked around at the faces, some familiar, some alien beyond description, but all sharing the same expression of amused superiority. These beings controlled trade routes worth trillions of credits, commanded fleets of ships the size of cities, and held the economic power of life and death over entire worlds. "I've been flying these routes for 15 years, Marcus said quietly. "I was here before half of your corporations even existed. I helped establish trade with the outer colonies when your precious syndicate was still squabbling over mining rights in the inner systems." "Ancient history," dismisses Matriarch Silthara. "The galaxy has evolved, human. The age of the solo trader is over. Join us or be left behind." Marcus straightened his shoulders. "What if I refuse both options?" The chamber fell silent for a moment. Then Chancellor Vexitar's mandibles clicked in what Marcus recognized as genuine amusement. "Then you will find that space has become a very dangerous place for lone humans. Pirates are so common these days. Ships disappear. Accidents happen." His voice carried no emotion, just cold fact. "The Syndicate cannot guarantee the safety of vessels that refuse our protection." The threat was clear: submit or be destroyed. Marcus had heard similar ultimatums delivered to dozens of independent traders over the past year. Most had sold their ships and joined the corporate fleets. Others had simply vanished into the void. "I see," Marcus nodded slowly. "You're right about one thing. The galaxy has evolved, but you're wrong about something else." "And what might that be?" asked Trade Minister Gorthak. "You think I'm just one human with one ship. You think I'm alone." Marcus smiled, and something in his expression made several council members shift uncomfortably. "You have no idea what you're dealing with." Chancellor Vextar's compound eyes focused on Marcus with sudden intensity. "Explain yourself, human." "The thing about my species," Marcus said, his voice carrying clearly through the chamber's acoustics, "is that we're really good at three things. We adapt, we remember, and we don't forgive." He turned to leave, then paused at the edge of the platform. "You want to know the difference between humans and every other species in this chamber? You see problems and find ways around them. We see problems and find ways through them. You've made this personal now. That was your first mistake." "Your threats amuse us," called Matriarch Silthara. "What can one human do against the combined might of the Galactic Trade Syndicate?" Marcus looked back over his shoulder. "Want to find out?" He walked toward the exit, his footsteps echoing in the suddenly quiet chamber. The assembled aliens watched him go, some with amusement, others with growing unease. They had just dismissed a human, something many species had learned to regret. As the chamber doors closed behind Marcus, Chancellor Vextar turned to his security chief. "Monitor that human. I want to know his every move." "Yes, Chancellor. Should we consider him a threat?" Vextar's mandibles clicked thoughtfully. "He's one human with one ship. How much of a threat could he possibly be?" Outside the chamber, Marcus activated his communicator. The signal was heavily encrypted, bouncing through relay stations across 3 star systems before reaching its destination. "Command, this is Chen. The Syndicate took the bait. They think I'm working alone." "Understood, Captain. All units are standing by. Operation Freight Train is authorized to proceed on your signal." Marcus smiled as he walked toward the docking bay where the Defiant waited. The Syndicate had made a critical error. They thought they were dealing with one angry human. They were about to learn the difference between one human and humanity itself. In the depths of space, invisible to Syndicate sensors, a fleet of ships powered down their stealth systems and began moving toward the Kepler corridor. Each ship bore the insignia of the Independent Traders Union, an organization the Syndicate believed they had destroyed months ago. The hunt was about to begin. Marcus reached his ship and began pre-flight preparations. Soon, the most powerful trading empire in galactic history would learn why humans had earned their reputation as the galaxy's most dangerous species when cornered. The Syndicate had dismissed the solo human. Now they were about to face them all. The Defiant drifted through the asteroid field like a piece of space debris, its engines cold and its hull scarred from years of hard use. To any passing scanner, it appeared to be just another derelict ship among the countless wrecks that littered the outer rim. Marcus Chen floated in zero gravity near his cargo bay, working on what appeared to be a standard supply crate. But this crate held something far more valuable than medical supplies. It contained a quantum communication array that could punch through any jamming system the Syndicate possessed. "Ghost Leader to Base Command," he whispered into his helmet comm. "I'm in position at the Kepler Junction. Syndicate patrol schedules confirmed. They're running 6 heavy cruisers in rotating shifts, plus automated defense platforms every 50,000 clicks." The response came through his encrypted channel. "Copy that, Ghost Leader. Phantom Wing reports they've identified the Syndicate's main supply depot. Massive facility. Looks like they're stockpiling enough weapons to outfit a small army." Marcus smiled grimly. The Independent Traders Union hadn't been destroyed as the Syndicate believed. When the corporate giants had started their campaign of intimidation and forced acquisitions, the ITU had gone underground, literally in some cases. Hidden bases in asteroid fields, abandoned mining stations, and forgotten outposts had become staging areas for the largest guerrilla operation in galactic history. "Any word from our friends in the outer colonies?" Marcus asked. "Better than that. The Proxima 7 situation has gone viral across the colonial networks." Every human settlement from here to the Magellanic Clouds is furious. The Syndicate's blockade of medical supplies has united the colonies like nothing else could. Marcus checked his instruments as a Syndicate patrol cruiser passed overhead, its massive bulk casting a shadow over the asteroid field. The Carathian destroyer was 3 times the size of Marcus's ship, armed with enough firepower to level a city. Its crew of 200 represented the elite of Syndicate security forces. They had no idea they were being watched. "Contact on scope," Marcus reported. "Ides Carathian destroyer, patrol vector 77 Mark IV. She's beautiful, isn't she?" "Roger that. Remember, Ghost Leader, we want them alive when possible. These crews are just following orders." "Understood. Initiating Phase 2. Marcus activated a hidden panel in his cargo hold. Inside lay equipment that definitely hadn't been included in any standard trader's manifest. Military-grade sensor jammers, electromagnetic pulse grenades, and a collection of devices that would have made Syndicate security very nervous. He selected a small cylindrical object about the size of his thumb. The quantum virus bomb was humanity's latest gift to electronic warfare. Once deployed, it would replicate through any connected system, creating chaos in everything from navigation computers to life support systems. The Defiant's engines fired just enough thrust to nudge the ship toward the patrol cruiser's flight path. To anyone monitoring, it would look like another piece of debris caught in the larger ship's gravitational wake. As the cruiser passed overhead, Marcus launched the virus bomb through a concealed port. The tiny device attached itself to the cruiser's hull and immediately began its work, sending microscopic tendrils through the ship's external sensor array. "Package delivered," Marcus reported. "Now we wait." He didn't have to wait long. 15 minutes later, the cruiser's navigation lights began flickering erratically. Then its engine started firing random course corrections. Emergency beacons activated as the ship's automated systems began reporting multiple critical failures. "Syndicate vessel, this is independent freighter Defiant," Marcus broadcast on emergency frequencies. "I'm reading distress signals from your position. Do you require assistance?" The response was immediate and desperate. "This is Captain Veltar of the IDS Carathian destroyer. We're experiencing total system failure. All navigation and life support systems are compromised. Please assist immediately." Marcus allowed himself a small smile. The virus had worked perfectly, creating the illusion of critical failures while actually leaving all systems functional. The Syndicate crew was panicking over problems that didn't really exist. "Acknowledged, Captain. I'm transmitting emergency shutdown codes that should stabilize your systems. Please prepare for emergency docking." What Marcus actually transmitted was a secondary virus package that would give him complete control over the cruiser's computers. Within minutes, the mighty warship was as helpless as a newborn. "System stabilization complete," Marcus reported as he maneuvered the Defiant alongside the cruiser's docking bay. "Permission to come aboard and inspect your systems for permanent repairs?" "Granted, and thank you. We'll remember this kindness." Marcus chuckled as he sealed his helmet. They certainly would remember this, though perhaps not in the way they expected. The airlock cycled, and Marcus stepped aboard the cruiser carrying what appeared to be a standard engineering toolkit. Captain Veltar met him personally, a tall, dignified Thrakari whose tentacles were still twitching with stress. "Independent trader Marcus Chen at your service," Marcus said, offering a polite nod. "Let's see what we can do about your technical difficulties." "We cannot thank you enough," Veltar replied. "When our systems began failing, we thought we might drift here forever. The nearest Syndicate facility is 3 days away. Well, you're in luck." "I've seen problems like this before." Marcus began connecting his toolkit to the cruiser's main computer core. "Usually caused by quantum interference from old mining equipment. Very common in this sector." What he actually connected was a sophisticated hacking array that began copying every piece of data in the ship's computer systems. Trade routes, patrol schedules, weapons inventories, communication codes. Everything the Independent Traders Union would need to plan their next moves. "How long will the repairs take?" Veltar asked. "Oh, not long at all." Marcus watched his progress indicators climbing rapidly. "In fact, your system should be working perfectly in about 15 minutes. That was exactly how long he needed to download the cruiser's entire database. As his equipment worked, Marcus engaged Veltar in casual conversation about patrol duties, supply schedules, and the Syndicate's plans for expanding their control over the Outer Rim trade routes. The Thrakari captain, grateful for the rescue, answered every question without suspicion. "Repairs complete," Marcus announced, disconnecting his equipment. "Your system should run smoothly now. I've also uploaded some diagnostic software that will help prevent similar problems in the future." What he'd actually uploaded was a dormant version of the control virus, ready to activate on command. When the time came, the ITU would be able to take control of this cruiser and dozens of others with a single transmission. "You have our gratitude," Veltar said as they returned to the airlock. "Is there anything we can do to repay this kindness?" Marcus paused at the airlock door. "Actually, there is one thing. I'm carrying medical supplies to Proxima 7, but your people at the Trade Council set the toll higher than I can afford. Any chance you could put in a word for me?" Veltar's expression darkened. "I'm sorry, but trade regulations are not within my authority. The Syndicate's policies are set at the highest levels." "I understand. Just thought I'd ask. People are dying out there, but I suppose business is business." As Marcus returned to his ship, he could see the conflict in Veltar's eyes. The captain was clearly troubled by the situation, but bound by orders from his corporate masters. Perfect. Seeds of doubt were just as valuable as intelligence data. "Ghost leader to base command," Marcus reported once he was safely back aboard the Defiant. "Intelligence package acquired. Also delivered a little present that will keep giving. One patrol cruiser neutralized, crew unharmed but compromised." "Outstanding work, Ghost leader. Phase 3 is authorized. All units. Begin approach to target coordinates." Marcus watched the cruiser resume its patrol, its crew unaware that their ship was now a weapon pointed at their own forces. In 12 hours, when the ITU fleet emerged from hyperspace, the Syndicate would learn what happened when humans decided to stop playing by someone else's rules. The Defiant drifted back into the asteroid field, just another piece of space junk hiding among the rocks. But hidden in those same asteroids were 47 other ships, each one crewed by humans who had lost everything to Syndicate aggression. The solo human had just become an army. The emergency session of the Galactic Trade Council convened at 0400 Standard Time, when most species were in their rest cycles. Holographic displays filled the chamber with urgent red warnings and tactical readouts that painted a picture of coordinated chaos across 17 star systems. Chancellor Vextar stood at the center of the chamber, his compound eyes reflecting the angry light of the displays. Around him, the most powerful beings in known space struggled to comprehend the scope of what was happening to their empire. "Report!" Vextar commanded, his clicking voice sharp with barely controlled fury. Trade Minister Gorthak's rocky form ground against itself as he gestured to the displays. "In the past 18 hours, we have lost contact with 47 cargo convoys, 12 patrol squadrons, and 6 major supply depots. Our trade routes through the Outer Rim have been completely severed." "Pirates?" suggested Matriarch Silthara, though her serpentine form coiled with obvious anxiety. "No." Security Chief Krath Dan stepped forward, his crystalline Zephyrian body chiming discord. "This is coordinated military action. Each attack was precisely planned and executed. No random piracy shows this level of organization." A new display materialized showing the attack patterns. Red dots marked Syndicate losses across a three-dimensional map of local space. The pattern was unmistakable, a carefully planned campaign designed to isolate and strangle Syndicate operations. The attackers knew our patrol schedules, our supply routes, our security codes, Krathdan continued. They struck simultaneously across multiple sectors with perfect timing. This required intelligence gathering on a massive scale. Vexitar studied the patterns, his tactical mind working through the implications. Show me the ship signatures from the attacks. That's the problem, Chancellor. Most of our ships never got clear sensor readings. The attackers used extensive jamming and stealth technology. But the few signatures we did capture... Krathdan paused, his crystalline form flickering with uncertainty. Show me. A new display appeared, showing ship silhouettes captured by automated sensors. The profiles were clearly identifiable. Human designs, mostly converted cargo vessels and mining ships, but modified with military-grade equipment. Humans, Vexitar whispered, his mandibles clicking rapidly. But the Independent Traders Union was destroyed months ago. We confirmed the elimination of their leadership structure. Apparently not, sir. Krathdan activated another display showing communication intercepts. We've detected encrypted transmissions using ITU frequency patterns. They're not only alive, they've been planning this operation for months. The chamber fell silent as the implications sank in. The Syndicate had dismissed the human traders as an irrelevant annoyance, easily crushed by superior corporate power. Instead, they had created an enemy that understood their weaknesses better than they understood themselves. "Casualty reports?" asked Matriarch Silthara. "Minimal," Krathdan admitted. "The attacks were surgical. Supply depots were emptied rather than destroyed. Crews were captured rather than killed. The humans seem more interested in disrupting our operations than causing casualties." "How generous of them," Vexitar said sarcastically. "What about our military response?" "That's complicated, sir." Krathdan's form flickered again. "We've dispatched 3 battle groups to hunt down the attackers, but they've vanished into the asteroid fields and debris zones where our larger ships can't follow effectively." Trade Minister Gorthak shifted his massive form. "The financial implications are staggering. We're losing millions of credits per hour in disrupted trade. The colonial markets are in chaos. Shipping insurance rates have tripled overnight." "And there's something else," Krathdan added reluctantly. "The humans have been broadcasting on all colonial frequencies. They're claiming responsibility for the attacks and explaining why they're doing it. Public opinion in the outer colonies is not favorable to us." A new display showed excerpts from the broadcasts. Marcus Chen's face appeared on the screen, speaking directly to the camera with calm confidence. "Citizens of the Outer Rim colonies, this is Captain Marcus Chen of the Independent Traders Union. For too long, the Galactic Trade Syndicate has used its power to strangle independent commerce and hold entire worlds hostage for profit. Today, that ends." The recording shifted to show footage of Syndicate cargo ships being boarded by ITU forces. The operations were professional, efficient, and notably humane. Captured crews were shown being treated well, even as their ship's cargo was redistributed to previously blockaded colonies. "The medical supplies that the Syndicate refused to deliver to Proxima 7, Marcus continued. "They're on their way now, along with food, equipment, and everything else your people need. The Syndicate wants you to believe that you need them to survive. We're here to prove them wrong." Vexitar ordered the display shut off, but the damage was already done. The message was spreading across the colonial networks faster than the Syndicate could suppress it. "How bad is the public relations situation?" he asked. Matriarch Silthara's serpentine form writhed with agitation. "Catastrophic. 3 colony worlds have already declared independence from Syndicate protection. Others are following suit. The humans have positioned themselves as liberators rather than terrorists. Then we change that narrative, Vextar decided. Order all our media assets to portray the ITU as pirates and terrorists. Emphasize the threat to galactic stability and commercial order. That may be difficult, sir, Krathdan warned. The humans have been very careful to document their actions. Every engagement has been recorded and broadcast. They're showing restraint and professionalism that's hard to characterize as terrorism. Vextar's compound eyes blazed with fury. How had a dismissed human traitor managed to organize such an effective campaign? Where had they acquired military hardware and training? Most importantly, what did they want? Have they made any demands? He asked. Nothing formal, Gorthak replied, but their public broadcasts make their position clear. They want unrestricted trade access, an end to monopolistic practices, and reparations for the independent traders forced out of business. Unacceptable. The syndicate doesn't negotiate with terrorists. With respect, Chancellor, Matriarch Silthara interjected. We may not have a choice. Our military forces are designed to fight conventional wars between major powers, not asymmetric warfare against guerrilla fighters who know our systems better than we do. Then we escalate, Vextar decided. Contact Admiral Rexhai. I want the 4th Fleet mobilized and ready for deployment within 12 hours. Krathdan's form flickered nervously. Sir, the 4th Fleet includes Dreadnought-class vessels. Using ships of that size against civilian targets could end this problem permanently, Vextar finished. The humans want to play soldier? Let them face real military power. I want every asteroid field in 3 sectors swept clean, every hidden base found and destroyed, every human ship turned to scrap. The chamber's atmosphere grew heavy with unspoken concern. The 4th Fleet was the Syndicate's most powerful military asset, designed for planetary bombardment and fleet-to-fleet warfare. Using it against guerrilla fighters was like using a sledgehammer to swat insects, effective, but likely to cause massive collateral damage. Chancellor, Matriarch Silthara said carefully, if we use heavy military force against civilian populations, we risk turning the humans into martyrs. The colonial reaction will be submission, Vextar cut her off. When they see what happens to those who defy the Syndicate, they'll remember their place in the galactic order. As the council members filed out to implement Vextar's orders, none of them noticed the small device hidden in the chamber's communication array. The quantum virus that Marcus had introduced into their systems 3 months earlier had been quietly recording every conversation, every order, every strategic decision. In an asteroid field 1,000 light-years away, Marcus Chen smiled as he reviewed the intercepted communications. The Syndicate was about to make their second mistake. Base Command, this is Ghost Leader, he transmitted. The Syndicate is bringing out the heavy guns. 4th Fleet deployment confirmed. Time to show them what happens when you threaten human civilians. Roger that, Ghost Leader. Phase 4 is authorized. All units, prepare for total warfare. The solo human had been dismissed. The guerrilla army had proven their point. Now it was time for humanity to show the galaxy what they could really do when pushed too far. Admiral Rexhai stood on the bridge of the SDS Inevitable Conquest, watching his 4th Fleet emerge from hyperspace like gods materializing from the void. 57 capital ships, each one capable of reducing a planet to molten slag, spread across local space in perfect formation. The dreadnoughts alone massed more than most planetary defense fleets. Target acquisition complete, reported his tactical officer. We've identified 73 possible hiding spots in the asteroid fields. Probability analysis suggests the terrorist forces are dispersed across multiple locations. Rexhai nodded, his 4 arms working across the command console with practiced efficiency. The Drakmarian admiral had spent 2 centuries perfecting the art of overwhelming force. Pirates, rebels, and independence movements had all fallen before his fleets. "Begin systematic bombardment," he ordered. "I want every asteroid larger than a cargo shuttle reduced to dust. Leave nothing that could hide a ship." The fleet's massive guns opened fire, sending streams of plasma and antimatter into the rocky debris of the Kepler belt. Explosions bloomed like deadly flowers as thousand-year-old asteroids were vaporized in seconds. "Admiral," his communications officer called out, "we're receiving a transmission on standard frequencies. It's the human terrorist leader." On screen, Marcus Chen's face appeared on the main display, his expression calm despite the destruction raging around his position. Behind him, the bridge of the Defiant showed no signs of panic or fear. "Admiral HFY," Marcus said politely, "I have to say, that's quite an impressive light show you're putting on out there." "Surrender now, human, and your deaths will be quick," HFY growled. "Continue to resist, and I will make examples of you that will be remembered for 1,000 years. Marcus smiled. "You know, I was really hoping you'd say something like that. It makes what comes next so much easier. Your threats amuse me. You have perhaps 50 ships, all converted civilian vessels. I have 57 capital ships, each one crewed by military professionals. What could you possibly—" Marcus held up a small device that looked remarkably like a standard comm unit. "This is a quantum detonator, connected to approximately 300 fusion mines that my people have been placing throughout this system for the past 6 months. HFY's 4 eyes widened. "Impossible. Our sensors would have detected—" "Your sensors detect what they're programmed to detect," Marcus interrupted. "The thing about humans, Admiral, is that we're really good at thinking outside the box. Those mines, they're not just hidden in asteroids. They're hidden inside asteroids that we've been slowly moving into position around your fleet." On the tactical display, red dots began appearing throughout the fleet formation. Dozens of them. Hundreds. Every major ship in the 4th Fleet suddenly found itself surrounded by fusion explosives. "You're bluffing," HFY snarled, though his voice lacked conviction. "You think so? Lieutenant Chen, would you please demonstrate with mine number 74? A distant explosion lit up space as a small asteroid 20 kilometers from the fleet perimeter simply ceased to exist, replaced by a brief star that outshone the local sun. "That was just a little one," Marcus explained conversationally. "The ones next to your dreadnoughts are considerably larger. Shall I continue the demonstration?" HFY's bridge crew was frantically checking their sensors, confirming what their admiral didn't want to believe. The human wasn't bluffing. The entire 4th Fleet was sitting in the middle of the largest minefield in galactic history. "How?" HFY whispered. 6 months of patient work," Marcus replied. "While your people were busy consolidating trade routes and counting profits, my people were busy preparing for war. We moved asteroids, we planted mines, we infiltrated your computer networks, we recruited allies you never even noticed." As if on cue, new contacts began appearing on the tactical display, ships emerging from hyperspace all around the system. Not human ships this time, but vessels from dozens of different species, traders from races that the Syndicate had squeezed out of business, colonial defense forces from worlds that had been economically strangled, even some military units from species that had grown tired of Syndicate domination. "Impossible," HFY breathed. "These species have been rivals for centuries. They would never cooperate." "You're right," Marcus agreed. "They would never cooperate with each other, but they'll all cooperate against a common enemy. Congratulations, Admiral. The Galactic Trade Syndicate has managed to unite half the galaxy against them." The fleet surrounding HFY's ships wasn't massive by Syndicate standards, but it was diverse, determined, and positioned perfectly to take advantage of the minefield. More importantly, every ship was crewed by beings who had personal reasons to hate the Syndicate. "What do you want?" HFY asked, his military pride warring with tactical reality. "Simple," Marcus replied. "The immediate dissolution of the Galactic Trade Syndicate, full reparations to all traders and colonies damaged by your monopolistic practices, and a guarantee that trade routes will remain open to all species on an equal basis. The Syndicate Council will never agree to those terms. Then I guess you'd better convince them. Marcus checked his chronometer. You have 2 hours to get authorization from your bosses. After that, I start detonating mines, beginning with the ones closest to your flagship. Rex High's tactical mind was racing through possibilities. He could try to fight his way out, but the minefield made maneuvering impossible. He could attempt to jam the detonation signals, but the humans had obviously planned for that contingency. He could... Admiral, his communications officer interrupted. We're receiving multiple priority transmissions from Syndicate headquarters. It appears there are similar situations developing in 6 other star systems. What? Human forces have simultaneously deployed minefield traps around Syndicate fleets in the Centauri, Vega, Arcturus, Rigel, and Andromeda sectors. Every major military asset we have is currently under threat. Marcus's smile widened. Did I mention that humans are also really good at multitasking? While you were hunting for us here, my people were setting up similar surprises for your other fleets. Right about now, every Syndicate admiral in space is having a conversation very much like this one. Rex High slumped in his command chair. It was a masterpiece of strategic planning. The humans had turned the Syndicate's own strength against them. By concentrating their military forces for maximum intimidation, they had made themselves perfect targets for coordinated traps. 1 hour and 58 minutes, Marcus announced cheerfully. I'd start making those calls if I were you. In the Syndicate Council chamber, Chancellor Vextar stared at incoming reports with growing horror. Every fleet admiral was reporting the same situation, trapped by minefields, surrounded by hostile forces, demanding immediate authorization to negotiate. How did this happen? He whispered. Trade Minister Gorthak's rocky form was actually trembling. The humans, they turned our own success against us. We concentrated our forces to make ourselves look stronger. Instead, we made ourselves more vulnerable. The financial implications are catastrophic, reported Matriarch Silthera. If we lose our military assets, the Syndicate will collapse within days. Our entire economic model depends on the threat of force. And if we negotiate, Vextar asked, then we admit defeat to a species we claimed was inferior. Every member race will question our authority. The Syndicate will still collapse, just more slowly. Vextar's compound eyes flickered as he calculated odds and outcomes. Both paths led to ruin, but one offered a slim chance of survival. Open a channel to the human leader, he commanded. Marcus Chen's face appeared on the chamber's main display, his expression politely attentive. Chancellor, Marcus said with mock respect, I trust your admirals have explained the situation. What guarantee do we have that you won't simply destroy our fleets even if we agree to your terms? Vextar demanded. None whatsoever, Marcus replied cheerfully. But then, what guarantee did the colonies have that you wouldn't starve them for profit? What guarantee did independent traders have that you wouldn't destroy their livelihoods? Sometimes, Chancellor, you have to take things on faith. And if we refuse? Then, in about 90 minutes, the Fourth Fleet becomes an expanding cloud of radioactive debris, along with the 2nd, 7th, 5th, 9th, and 12th Fleets. Your entire military will be gone, and the galaxy will be free to rebuild commerce without the Syndicate's interference. Vextar looked around the chamber at faces filled with fear and resignation. The greatest trading empire in galactic history had been outmaneuvered by a single human with a grudge and the intelligence to turn that grudge into a plan. We accept your terms, he said quietly. Excellent, Marcus beamed. I'll have the paperwork transmitted within the hour. Oh, and Chancellor, next time someone tells you they're coming for you, maybe take them seriously. The transmission ended, leaving the Syndicate leadership in stunned silence. 6 months later, Marcus Chen sat in the captain's chair of the Defiant, watching cargo ships from 100 different species loading medical supplies at the Proxima 7 relief station. The plague had been contained, the colony was rebuilding, and trade flowed freely through routes that were now open to all. "Captain," his communications officer called out, "we're receiving a priority message from the new Galactic Trade Cooperation Council. They're requesting our input on shipping regulations for the Outer Rim." Marcus smiled. The galaxy was learning to work together instead of allowing one group to dominate all the others. It was messy, inefficient, and sometimes chaotic. It was also free. "Tell them we'll be happy to help," Marcus replied. "After all, we're just a bunch of solo humans. What could we possibly know about galactic commerce?" His crew chuckled as the Defiant turned toward open space, ready for whatever adventure awaited among the stars. The dismissed solo human had proven that sometimes the smallest force could move the largest objects. All it took was the right lever and the will to use it.